Hello everybody, thanks again for watching this live. Today we're talking about insecurity and approval. Today's going to be a little bit different. I want to speak from a personal experience. Basically what I want to explain is this, is that there's three uses of insecurity in your life. You can yield to it, you can shield from it, or you can wield it. Those are the three uses you can have for insecurity. You can yield to it, shield from it, or wield it. So I'll go into that in a few minutes' time. Oh, there's some guys already on. Hi, Jen. Hi, Johnny. Matty, Claire. Nice to see you guys. Hope you're doing well. It's Christmas week this week. I look tired because I am absolutely knackered. It has been a long year, you know. A lot worse for a lot of people other than me, but I'm just looking forward to Christmas. Oh, Gav's on. Hey, Gav. And Dave's on too. Hi, Isha. Hi, Dave. Okay, so insecurity, right? Insecurity is one of those things in communication where this is what I feel like a lot of people who desire to be on the platform, often that desire to be on the platform comes from a place of needing approval, of insecurity, right? That might have where it started for me, but where it's ended up having a desire to communicate. It's my motivation isn't to be liked, although that still is an issue for me. The motivation is to bring life, to show others my faults and show others a better way than than I had been shown when I was younger, if you know what I mean. I'm just going to take a sip of this lovely cup of tea. Oh, it's a good one. Yorkshire tea. Just give us a heads up in the chat. Is anybody a fan of Yorkshire tea? Does anyone prefer a different kind of tea? PG tips, Tetley's, I want to know. It's an important question if you're British. It's an important question. Because as for me and my house, we will drink Yorkshire tea. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd love to know. Or any tea suggestions, actually. I'd like to know what it is that you drink tea-wise. Oh, man. Oh, Claire, I do always have a cup of tea. I need it. Honestly, at this time of night, I'm like falling asleep, so I need it. Oh, Johnny, basic, yeah, biscuit tea, okay. Yeah, biscuit tea. I love biscuits. Too much, actually. And Aisha, well done. Yorkshire wins every time, I agree. Okay. Just as a random side note before I tell you this stuff, is that I have a book that I am going to be sending out next week. It's my first ebook, and it's called How to Catch Your Communication Killer. And it's all about it's a very small book. It'll take you about an hour to read. It's only 3 chapters, epilogue, introduction as well, and there's some fictional writing in each chapter, and it basically identifies 3 of the biggest killers that every public speaker has, and hopefully it'll help you identify what your communication killer is. That is going out on Monday. Now, I'm going to give it out for free, but only to those who are on my mail list. So if you do want a copy of that, it is the first draft. Well, it's the 4th, but the first public draft. I want to send it you for free with the idea that you would give me feedback. You know, how can I make this better? There'll be a short questionnaire attached with it. What kind of questions like, if I was to do a video series accompanying this ebook, what kind of topics would you want me to cover? So here's the deal. I send you that for free if you're on my mailing list, and you give me some feedback, you know. Tell me what you thought about it. I'd love to know what worked, what didn't, and then I can make it better to serve the wider public. But that only goes to the people that are on my mailing list. How do you get on my mailing list? Just go to my website. It's on there. So click it. Yeah. Okay, I'll be posting more about that another time. Another thing is, next week I said I would do a live on the 28th on the book release, but I decided that I wanted to keep it smaller I wanted to keep it just to those people that were part of this tribe I'm trying to build. And so it's going to go free to them. So if you want to be part of that, then that's cool. But I'm not going to be doing a live. I'll do a video explaining that people can get it if they join my mailing list. And if you're already on, it's going to go into your inbox, and I can't wait to hear your feedback. There's about a dozen or so, maybe just about 10 or something on the mailing list. So there's plenty of room if you want to join. And of course, if you're on my mailing list, you get that 14-week little video series I did. Okay, so just a few things on insecurity and approval. So my journey is massively insecure, still massively insecure. And as you are, sorry to break it to you. But what I've realised that there is a cure to being insecure. How do you know if you're insecure? You just know. Because you constantly think about what people think about you, and you desire to be affirmed by other people. I got really sad in 2016. I got sort of depressed. Got a depression, so I helped through a Christian counsellor. Really helped me out. I just didn't want to be here anymore. Really sad time in my life. And what the counsellor helped me identify was I have a deep-rooted need for approval. Like, I need to be approved of. I need to prove myself. I had such low self-worth, fantasizing about suicide became a regular thing. God really met me in the middle and sorted me out, as well as my wife, Han. So I understand what it feels like to desire and need people's approval. I also know what it looks like as a communicator of being on both sides of that. So I don't need people's approval now. I'm still insecure, do you know what I mean? But it's not to the extreme that I need someone's approval. If I was to look at my community, in fact I can because it's online on Vimeo and on YouTube, but when I look back at the talks and presentations I did before 2016 and then after 2016, there is a huge amount of difference. And let me explain what that difference is. Before 2016, I was trying to be someone else. So I was copying a lot of what other successful people were doing and just manufacturing it, putting it into what I was doing, using my material. Whereas afterwards, after 2016, I was just me. I was just chilled. I was more authentic. I was raw. I started being more creative because I felt like I had the personal license to do that. Like, hey, if I'm creative, maybe people enjoy that. Like, I don't need to be someone I'm not, so I'm just going to... So I found a bit more spontaneity, creativity. I enjoyed the craft of communication more because I felt like it was more of my own game, my own field of play. I wasn't playing someone else's game. I was trying to design my own. And a big thing was the applause. I really, really wanted the applause on stage. I wanted the laughs. I wanted people to walk away feeling, wow, Ben is an inspiration. Wow, look at him, The applause is slightly different for me now. So, of course, as a communicator, when you get an applause or when you get a laugh, it feels good. You get that endorphin rush. It's good. But I walk off that stage feeling that if God wasn't happy with that, then I'd failed. Like, okay, it may have landed well, it may have gone well, but if I'm not sort of saying to God, I even have a pre-talk routine where I touch different parts of my body. It's not sexual, it's not weird. What I mean is I'm in this kind of prayer space behind stage, and just before I go out, I touch my feet, pray for my feet that I stand on solid ground. I pray for I put my hands on my waist, praying that I wear the belt of truth. I pray for my hands that they're open to receive what God wants to give me. I pray for my shoulders that they carry a burden for His name. I pray for my mind for clarity of thought, for peaceful mind. I pray touch my ears. This is actually what I do. I touch my ears. I pray I hear God during what I'm saying. I touch my eyes to say, may I see things invisible in the room. If there's something I need to prophesy over someone or see kind of something, I pray for that. And finally, I pray for my mouth that it will be His words and not mine. I don't try and let anybody see that. but sometimes obviously people do and they just think I'm absolutely mental. But what that does is that challenges the need for approval stuff. I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back to 2016, depressed Ben. What I want to do is I want to put my brain in the right space to say, God, I'm doing this for you. I'm not doing it for those people listening to me. So even if it bombs, but I know that it was the right thing to do, man, I'm all for that. That's why I live. One day I'm going to get to heaven, guys, and Jesus is going to be on a throne. And in Revelation, it says that every man that goes to heaven will have to throw a crown before Jesus. And that's what I want to do with the communication. I want to hold that as a crown that people gave me and said, hey, you're great. You know, well done. You really encouraged me. Thank you, to the church context in Wigan. And throw it before Jesus and say, Jesus, it was always about you. This crown is nothing compared to what you went through. That helps keep it in perspective. I know this is a little bit different, but I thought I'd just be more conversationary with you. But just what I wanted to say about insecurity, I said right at the start of this live, that if you're an insecure person, if you're an insecure public speaker, communicator, then there's 3 ways you can use insecurity that I found in my own life. You can yield, shield, or wield. So you can yield to it, as in you can bow to it. You can just give up before you even start. You know, you're too insecure, so you just wilt under the pressure. You wilt under the need for people to like you, or the worry. You kind of step back. You can yield to it. It becomes your master. But we know, guys, don't we? In the book of Timothy, that God's love, man, it's not a spirit of fear. It's not a spirit of yielding. It's a spirit of power, love, and self-control, man. This is what we've got. And so when we are in that covenant relationship with Jesus, he becomes the higher authority. And so we don't bow to anything other than Jesus. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? So put it in perspective. All right, you're insecure. You know, well done. Join the club. Everyone is. Why don't you fix your eyes on someone else? Why don't you put that to one side and think about what Jesus thinks about you? So you could either yield to it. You could either shield from it. You could just literally blank it out. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're just like, I'm cutting that off, so I can't even see it. And that's really dangerous. That if you shield yourself from your own insecurity, you basically become ignorant of the truth. And we know how powerful truth is because the right kind of truth sets us free. When we face our insecurity, we actually find the key to unlock the door of the prison. So 2016, I was really sad, the need for approval, blah, 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 tear, wah. Knowing, finding what the issue was the key to releasing me. If I just shielded myself, if I just thought, forget it, I'm going to carry on, I'm not going to face the truth, I never would have found this new lease of life. I really wouldn't, and I promise you that. So I think for you, and I've only got a few minutes left, but let me just say that you need to face up to the reality of your insecurity. And when you face your insecurity, you find, if you look hard enough, you find why that's there. You can challenge why that's there. And you can replace that with a belief that is unlimited, not a limiting belief. Go back to Jesus. Even if you're not a Christian, just open up your Bible and just read what Jesus says about you, how good you are, how amazing you are, how much you... Put a bit of self-worth back in yourself. Paul Scanlon said this: would you ever be a friend to someone who spoke to yourself like you speak to yourself? Like, would you ever have a friend who says the things that you say to yourself privately? No, because you say horrendous things to yourself. The key is finding the right friend, the friend in Jesus. And so you can shield from insecurity, you can forget about it, but actually you just stay trapped. You need to own it, you need to come before God, you need to face it, and God will set you free, I promise you. And if you need any prayer, just DM me, just message me, just say, hey Ben, would you pray for me for this? And I'll send you a prayer back to encourage you. So don't shield from it, man. Don't shield from it, embrace it. So yield, shield, or finally wield before we go. Wield your insecurity. What does that mean, wield it? Well, how do you weaponize it? How do you weaponize what the enemy meant for evil, God turned for good? So how are we going to use it? So what I do is this. I'm just honest with it. I'm just upfront about it. Like, of course I care what people think about me, but honestly, I really couldn't care. When I'm using it for the purposes of God in my generation, I don't care. I'll use it because I'm trying to work for Jesus. I'm trying to do something for him, you know. So be authentic, be honest, talk about it. Tell people about it. Last week I talked about how, you know, make sure you're honest with your problems and your failures. Like we talked about framing failure, making sure that you frame failure right so it becomes advantageous to others, helpful to others. But when you reveal something you're insecure about, don't get a leather whip in front of everyone and slap your back 50 times. Just don't do it. Just recognize what you're insecure about and point people to a hope, point people to a future. Don't make self-deprecating jokes over and over and over again, how you're not prepared enough, you're not good enough, you've been worried all this time about delivering this Zoom call. Just don't do it. People don't enjoy it. That's not wielding it. Wielding it is this. Hey guys, I've been worried about what other people think about me recently, and this is exasperating the situation. But I know I'm here doing the right thing. And I know today what I'm going to say is really going to encourage you. So I'm going to get over myself. I'm going to try and have fun. And I want you to come with me. I won't do this perfect, but I know we'll have a good time. And then go into it. Because what you're showing people, you're creating this human element where you're saying, hey guys, I am epically insecure. We all know it and so are you. So let's make the best of the situation. Another way to wield it is tell them how you're beating it. Give them an answer. There's a problem that everyone has. Everyone's insecure. Give them an answer. What's working for you in your... I did that to you. I literally did that about 10 minutes ago. I told you about how I got out of it, what I did to get out of my low points. You do the same. And it doesn't matter whether you're fully there or not, because I'm not fully there, honestly. But I'm better than I was. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what it is. When we surrender to that day, when we don't yield to it, we yield to Jesus. When we don't shield from it, but we embrace it and find that key to unlock the prison. And finally, when we wield it, when we teach others how we're working through it, isn't that what this is all about? Isn't it someone's story being the key to liberating someone else? I mean, I can just tell you this now, that one of my friends, Sam, is on the watching this now, and he, as much as he has a better beard than me, one thing I've really learned from him is this idea of facing up to the facts and the reality of how you're feeling, to be honest with that raw emotion, not to walk away from it, but to just embrace it. And through that, and bringing it to God and seeking good counsel, you actually find great strength and wisdom. Now, I don't have to make some mistakes that Sam has had to make because he's taught me how to deal with it and how not to do it. And I'm sure it's the same the opposite way too. We teach each other as friends. And I think that's a great picture that I just want to land on, where friends are honest when they're connected, when they're vulnerable. And if you can emulate that as a communicator on stage, you walk away knowing that people were moved and people were challenged. But most importantly, you walk away knowing that you used your gift for God's glory. You used it as a way to enlighten and inspire others. I think that's it. So don't forget, I have this book coming out on Monday. It's about 40 odd pages, take about an hour to read. But you only get it if you're on my mailing list. And don't forget, if you sign up to my mailing list at bentower.com, go on then, you'll get it. Sign up to my mailing list. I just want your feedback. Was it good? How was it? If I was to do video content with it, is it helpful? So there won't be a live next week. I'll be signing off socials for a while soon to have a bit of Sabbath and Selah time and a bit of family face-to-face time. But again, if you need prayer for anything, I'm opening that up. So just DM me, message me, and I would love to pray for you. Let me pray for you now, and then we're going to go. I'm going to have some alcohol or some chocolate. I'm not sure which yet. I'm going to wrap some presents, so let me pray for you. God, thank you for these guys watching. Thank you. I just pray that amongst all the insecurity and all the stuff that we all have to deal with, Lord, I pray that they find the key that unlocks the door to the prison. I pray this Christmas season will be a real blessing to them, that they will get some rest, get some time off, time on with you, and off task. And despite all this TF4 and all this crazy stuff, we know, God, you are doing your things somehow, somewhere, some way, and we trust in you. Thanks for these guys. May you bless them with the public speaking and the communicating. Amen. Amen. Thanks, guys, for turning up. Really appreciate you all. If you also, what I would say is this, and I am going because I'm shutting my iPad off. If you struggle with insecurity too, or the need for approval, a bit like me, just message me. I'll share with you some tips that I've got. Okay, but you're not alone. Most of us go through that. Appreciate you all, especially you Yorkshire tea drinkers. You're truly the best kind of people. Bless you guys. Appreciate you all. Have a lovely Christmas. Join my mail list so you can get this book. I'd love to know what you think. Okay, bye guys. Great to see you again. Take care. Thanks. See you soon.